Welcome back for another tutorial. Today we are going to be doing a hot pad or a trivet. I've heard it called both. We are going to work this up really quick. You will need 100% cotton yarn for this, just one skein of it. We're going to triple it to get it this nice and bulky. So let's get into it, shall we? All right, so for all of your supplies today, I am using Lily's Sugar and Cream 100% cotton. You can use whatever kind of cotton that you like. I just like this because it's usually relatively inexpensive and they have a ton of fun colors. And then for tools, we are using an in/10mm hook. You will need a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, and we will need to use our tapestry needle to weave in our ends. So to get started, I am going to demonstrate how to do the tripled up yarn. So it's actually pretty simple. We're gonna take our yarn and we're gonna make an S out of it. I'll try to make mine a little bit smaller. Most of the time I try to make the first one as big as I can because then you don't have to fiddle with it as much when you're first trying to start out, but this is what you do. So we've got our S here, right? And then I'm going to take this end, and now this is my end of, the tail of our yarn. And everything on this end will be the working yarn, everything on this end will be the tail. You'll find that I use those words a lot. So if you've never done one, I use a magic loop. I'm going to go over this. You can find a more in-depth tutorial on another video. I've done a couple on these at this point. And we are going to be doing a double-stranded magic loop because we don't want to have to fuss with weaving in ends when we're done. We can just snip off the tail and it'll be very secure. So what we do for double-stranded is we wrap our yarn around once and then twice, making sure that the last loop going to the working yarn ends up the furthest back on your fingers. You can slip your hook in there. Now you need to make sure the whole time you want to be grabbing all three strands that are going to work up with this, okay? And we're going to pull up a loop, take our fingers out. Make sure if you didn't have a long length of yarn for your S that you don't lose it here. And I'm going to show you really quick because I'm already out. How you get more in the triplicate is you just reach through the loop that's there, grab the strand that's coming from your working yarn and pull it through, and there you go. You're back to having tripled yarn. Okay, so back to this magic loop. So we are going to slip stitch to secure it. And then right into the pattern, our first round is 8 half double crochets. So a half double crochet, we will yarn over once, insert your hook, yarn over, pull your hook back, yarn over, but we're gonna pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Now, I do realize that there's actually 9 loops on your hook. So you really do have to be careful that you're not confusing which loops go with which. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. I think it's easier actually when you have the variegated colors, so if that would help you out, maybe I would suggest it. But then we're just going to work 7 more. We need a total of 8 half double crochets on this first round. So here's 2. And yarn over, put it through, yarn over, pull it back, yarn over, pull through 3. And again, I'm so sorry you guys, my cat is running amok in my living room. If you can hear her right now, she is all over the place. All right, I'm already getting low on this loop, so I'm gonna pull some more through, and it'll go like that. So this whole time, like that's the running trick, is you just got to keep pulling more yarn up through that loop, the way you don't run out. 2, 3, 4. I need 4 more. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, So now we've got all 8 loops on here. So how do we tighten this thing? How do we get our magic loop to be magic? So you're going to very gently pull the tail just a little bit, just to see which set of strands tightens the most. And you'll see pretty quickly that there is a big difference in between these 3 looser ones and these 3 tighter ones. So we're actually going to grab the tighter ones because that's going to be the loop closest to the tail, but we actually want to secure the inner loop first. And we're going to use those 3 to pull that inner loop as tight as we can, making sure that we're only getting the 3 that we need. Uh-oh, it looks like some of mine may be a little crossed. Imagine that. Let's see. If I need to kind of pull them one at a time just to see what's connected with what, I will. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and now that we've got our inner loop nice and secure, you can see I no longer have a hole. Then I'm just going to reach back here and get the actual tail and pull it through. And now all of our little strands are gone. All right, now we get to continue. I always like to count backwards to make sure that I'm grabbing the right loop over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is why, because that loop sometimes looks like something else. It looks like it might have just been like the side loop that goes over here. Of course, I did mine really tight, but there we go. Okay, so we need a half double crochet. We're going to work half double crochets throughout this entire project. So yarn over first, insert your hook into your stitch, yarn over, pull it back through. Oh my goodness. There we go. And then yarn over and pull through all 3. So you'll notice that we are going to be working continuously. I did not stop and start this round. They call this particular technique continuous rounds, in case you were curious. And then we need to put 2 half double crochets in every crochet, or in every half double crochet around. So we need to put 1 more in this stitch. So we'll yarn over, insert your hook into the very same stitch that you did the last time, yarn over, pull up your loop, then yarn over and pull through all 3. All right, and then we're going to repeat that 8 more times around, where we're increasing in every single row. I'm going to pull up some more triplicate yarn here. Here we go. Oh, I love it when the colors kind of match. It gets all colorful down here, but I got a whole little section of yellow. That'll be really pretty when it works in here. Okay, so 1, increase. 1, increase. Yes, I count funny. 1, increase. Oh, I'm running out again. Here we go. 1, increase. 1, increase. Oops, I pulled up the wrong strand there. Now it looks a little funky. Just gonna fiddle it till it gets back in there. Okay, so 1, increase, And this is our last stitch before we get to our stitch marker, which is always, for me, the first stitch in every round. So this will be the last increase that we do. One. Oh. I feel like you do this like every few stitches. You just have to add more. Increase. Okay, so there is our second round all wrapped up. If you need to count, you should have 16 stitches all the way around, and of course if you want to do that, you just count the little braids. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Perfect. Okay, so for round 3, we need to get to 24 stitches around. So this time, instead of doing an increase in every stitch, we're going to do an increase in every other stitch. So we'll do 1 half double crochet in this stitch. Don't forget to put your stitch marker back. And then an increase in the next one. So 1 increase. One increase. And we're out of our triple up yarn again. This is easier if you work from the center of a skein, but I know that this won't use an entire center or an entire skein of yarn. And so I am stubbornly trying to not have a half loose skein of yarn sitting over there on my shelf. They stay together a little bit better if you work from the outside in, but I could just wind it. I have a yarn winder. I'm just making excuses. Okay, here we go. And then an increase. Ooh, look at that pink and white. That is beautiful. All right. Increase. One. Increase. Oh, and I need more pulled through. Increase. Okay. One. Okay. In the bowl you go, buddy. The next one's an increase. And then one. And our last stitch is an increase. Okay. All right, that is the end of round 3. Only 2 more rounds to go, guys. We're almost done already. See what I mean about how fast this works up? And it's just so pretty. Oh, I love the fun colors. This is like summer in a ball of yarn. It's so vibrant. It's so fun. And my hair. Okay. So for this round, We are going to be working a little differently. We're going to be breaking away from like your normal standards of growth for a circle for crochet. If you do understand how circles typically work in crochet, I apologize. You're going to hate me for these next 2 rounds because it is not traditional. As I was testing this one, I realized that because it's half double crochet, it increases slightly differently than what a normal single crochet round would work. So just bear with me. I promise this method actually does work. And we will have a beautiful hot pad when we are done. All right, so for this round, here's the pattern. We're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch. And don't forget to put your stitch marker back in so we know where to start and stop, okay? And then we are going to be doing an increase. Now we are going to do 2 half double crochets. And then another increase. And then we are going to be repeating this 4 times. It doesn't work out in perfect math, so at the end it's a little bit funky, but I will help you out. I think the last one is just missing 1 increase. So, all right, so 1 single crochet, an increase. No, I'm so sorry. 1 half double crochet, increase, 2 half double crochet, increase, and we're going to repeat that. So 1 half double crochet, increase, and then 2 half double crochet and an increase. So 1 half double crochet, increase, and then 2 half double crochet, and then another increase. Okay, I'm just kind of laying it flat as I go. I know whenever you triple stuff up like this, it can get a little wonky on you sometimes. So just keep an eye on it. Okay, and we're going to repeat this again. So 1 half double crochet and then an increase, 2 half double crochet. Nope, I missed a whole bunch there. And then an increase, And then here we are at the end. So that was the last of the 4 rounds that we could do that were complete repetitions. So from here, we're just gonna do 1 and then an increase, and then we'll do 2 more half double crochet. And that brings us back to our stitch marker. Okay, so by the end of this round, you should have 33 stitches all the way around, and it should look like a circle. All right, and now we are at our last round, and this works up pretty quick. We are just going to do 2 half double crochets. So here's 1. We'll put our stitch marker back in. Hi, kitty. And then 2, and then we'll have an increase. Okay, and pull out yet again more yarn. And then 1 and an increase. So essentially it's the same stitch pattern from last time. So 1 half double crochet increase, 2 half double crochet increase, but this time we actually make it all the way around to make it a complete circle, and that pattern isn't interrupted. So let's see, we did 1 and an increase, so now we need 2 half doubles. And an increase. One increase. Ooh, that was close. Almost pulled that through. Okay, finish off that increase. So we did 1 increase, and now we need 2. And then an increase. And then we'll go back and do 1 increase, and then 2. Oh goodness. Let's try that again. 2. And then an increase. Okay, go ahead and pull up some more yarn so we don't get it as close as we did last time. So this is 1 and then increase. And then 2. And then another increase. One increase. next one is 2 half double crochets. And then an increase. Okay, now we're back at 1. Oops. Increase. And then 2. I just pull a little bit more since this is literally the last couple of stitches. I don't want a whole ton of wasted yarn. Okay, so 2. Uh-oh, I think I miscounted. So 2, increase, 1. So this should be an increase. Increase. And then 2. And then our last stitch, we're gonna put in an increase. Okay. Uh-oh, I missed a stitch, or I dropped a strand rather. Let's get these out of here and try that last one again. It's the first time I did that this whole time, you guys. Okay. All right, here we are. We have everything in here. We have our hot pad or trivet. I love this. Oh my, it's just, the colors are making me so happy. All right, so if you can, try to minimize how much you've tripled up here at the end. I think I pulled through a little too much just to work that one last stitch. Not the end of the world, but probably not worth going back and undoing. All right, so we need to leave a length of yarn to finish this off, okay? So we are going to give us, I don't know, 8-10 inches, and then we're just gonna cut off the end. All right, now I'm gonna pull this yarn through, and we can remove our stitch marker now. Now, thankfully, I do have a really good sized tapestry needle, and I can feed all three of these strands through there at the same time. You could do it one at a time, it would just be slightly more annoying. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do an invisible finish to get this to wrap around pretty seamlessly. So if you'll take a look, I am going to, so this is the last stitch that we worked into. I am going to skip this one here next to it, and I'm going to insert my hook from front to back into the next one. Pull it through. I don't want to pull it too tight. I actually only want it to look like it's replacing the stitch that's below it, and that's what makes it invisible. Okay, so now that I've got that through, I'm gonna take my hook, or my needle, I'm sorry, and put it back into where it came out of originally, right out of this stitch. And I'm gonna pick up some other loops down here on the back, just to help secure it a little bit. So we'll pull that through, and again, we do want to tighten it, but you don't want to tighten it so much that it looks weird. Your goal is really just to make it look like every other stitch. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so now we need to weave this end in. So the rule is you need to weave it in 3 different directions in order to secure it well to where it won't ever come undone. So I'm just pushing my needle through a good length of stitches, and then I'm going to pull it through. So there's one pass. My personal preference is I like to go back and forth, so I'm going to pick up an extra couple of like loops just to lock it in, and then go right back through where I was and pull that through. And I'm sure you couldn't guess it, but we're going to do the exact same thing. I am going to pick up an extra loop, and I'm going to put it right back through where we just came from. and pull it through. Okay, there we go. So our end is completely woven in, and now we can get as close to it as we can without cutting off any of the extra yarn around it, and snip. There you go. And then for this, because we did that double-stranded magic loop at the very beginning, you can do the same thing. It's already woven in technically. We'll cut it as close to our piece as we dare, and we're all done. How cool is that? All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments down below. I am completely obsessed with this. I definitely think that variegated is the way to go with this. I almost would say that if you have like some scraps left over of cotton, you could almost do a scrappy set of rounds. It's so pretty. Like the colors popping everywhere just really does it for my brain. All right, well, that's it for today, guys. Thanks for joining me. If you're still here, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. If you care to see more content like this, please feel free to subscribe, and that like button always helps the algorithm help people find my content easier. So I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next time.